Hello, Mila. How are you?
Hi, Elmer. I'm okay. How
Yeah,
are you?
I'm good. I just guys that are watching and listening to this, me and Mila recorded an episode probably around 2 months ago at least, which came as a surprise. Mila came here as a stand-up comedian to Prague for a visit, and I saw that she was performing, and I knew that she was stopping for a short time, so I called her up, and we recorded together an episode that actually, yeah, it was about her journey in comedy, dancing, family, and narcissism and life in Russia. And then at that time, I had a lot of other content that I was putting out, and finally, when time came to put out this episode, then we have a new reality with the invasion in Ukraine and the war, and we agreed, me and Mila, that it would be kind of stupid not to talk about that at all. So we had decided to record like a little intro. Yeah, I don't know, for me, this came as a total surprise. This invasion, what is 24th of February, I think it started. So it's like 1.5 months that it's been going. And Mila, you being from Russia, how did it look to you? Were you surprised?
I was surprised, terrified. I don't know if it's a good word to say surprised. I've never expected that, no. I've been following news about what was going on in Russia because there have been stuff in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine last year's huge things happening, nothing good, unfortunately, but not in details. And as much as I know now, even like political experts in Russia, for example, they were like never thinking that it really will go that direction, that war will actually start. It was a huge surprise, yes, and like as everyone else, I woke up Thursday morning to this news on Instagram, couldn't believe my eyes. And I've heard one of my favorite psychologists recently said as an interview, and I felt so related to this phrase. This is actually what I felt. It's like one of the biggest childhood fears of us came true.
Mm-hmm.
Because my generation, for example, I'm 33 years old. My grandparents, whom I still met in my life, they've been fighting in Second World War II, when we were fighting against fascism. And we know what it brought to our people. And by our people, actually, what is the craziest thing now for us to think is that our people are all of those who were in the Soviet Union back in the days. That means Ukrainians as well. We were fighting together against fascism. And my voice is going to shake now, probably, but what is it now? People of my country are being fascist themselves. Like, I'm saying it out loud, this is huge. And I probably get already enough to be imprisoned back in Russia for saying this, of course. But that's what we're feeling right now. And it's crazy, it is scary. You can't stomach it at all, because I mean, Ukrainians, it's a different country, but it's like I grew up thinking of them like brothers and sisters. We speak the same language, we share the same culture. I have so many friends here from so-called Russian-speaking community here in Barcelona, where I live. Most of them are Ukrainians, my good friends. Their families right now are in danger in Kiev, in Kharkiv. Kharkiv is destroyed completely. One of my best friends here, her family is still there. And I don't really know even how to talk to them. I mean, we do talk, but it was really hard. And I feel like it's kind of my people as well, even though I don't have blood relations in Russia, in Ukraine. But I feel like it's our people are being attacked. And what I just can't digest at all, they've been attacked by our people again. Yes.
But what about your family back in Russia? I mean, how can you talk to them about this?
This is even more complicated topic because unfortunately I can't. I mean, we don't find the same view on the topic. Like me, I've moved out of Russia when I was 17. I'm 33 years old now. I left when I was a kid. And I couldn't really see closely what was going on there. But I know now that it's been under severe propaganda for decades. And it's only getting worse in the last, let's say, 8 years, maybe 8 years. So people are brainwashed completely, and there's just no other source of information. I'm not sure if you guys know, but any other source of information is just being blocked, literally. You can't even freely use internet anymore. Basically, everything is blocked. Every alternative media is banned, and they're labeled as foreign agent or something, like almost criminalized. And how they show and picture what's going on now in Ukraine is just complete opposite. Like Russian soldiers are going there to save Ukrainians from someone. They can't even explain exactly whom. And by that, they also save Russia from a possible attack. I mean, I'm just saying it in a simple language, but the propaganda level there in Russia is great. They're doing a great job. I mean, great job by meaning that they really get what they want to get. It's very professionally well made, and it's working. And I'd say, like, my parents, for example, they're pretty old and they live in a very small, tiny place. So I would understand maybe that they never been interested in alternative information, never been interested in politics. What hurts me more is that, for example, my brother seems like not wanting to hear anything different. And this is what's happening with all Russian people right now, inside Russia and outside Russia as well. We are divided strongly into two groups who just can't agree because this is too much. Like people who understand what's going on, we are in pain, we are in agony every day because of blame, even though it's maybe not reasonable blame in some parts. Like for me, for example, I mean, I left when I was 17. And like last few years, I've been doing whatever I could trying to vote, trying to protest from Barcelona because I live here. But does it change anything? Unfortunately, so far no.
But like, I know, of course, like as you're saying, I mean, and the craziness of all this is the fact that these countries, Ukraine and Russia, have so much in common. They have such a mutual history and cultural traditions and languages and all of this, and so it must be really difficult for you and Russians to watch this, you know. But on the other hand, I feel in some way that if I look at how Europe and the US and NATO has treated Russia, if we take like historically, it has been for me like you know, we have always kept Russia as the bad boy somehow. We blamed Russia for Trump. Then we blamed them for. I was surprised that they didn't blame COVID on Russia, but maybe they needed to blame it on China instead or something. You know, like it's and then if we think about like a country that has a great history as an empire, I mean Russian Empire and then the Soviet Union, and then if we look at where it is now in terms of, you know, influence and geography, then I do understand from a Russian point of view that, okay, if you have NATO in the Baltic countries, if you get NATO into Ukraine, if you get NATO, you have NATO all around, everywhere. And it puts Russia in a difficult position, but it also gives a Russian politician, in this case Putin, it gives him a chance to create this, it's us against them. You know what I mean? Like it gives him a chance to say to his nation, listen, they are just going to take us over if they get Ukraine on board, if they get all the Baltics on board, if they start talking to Georgia, if they start, you know, Moldova and all those countries that are close and around, and this is new because this wasn't like after the Soviet Union fell, then, you know, okay, yeah, Czech Republic came into NATO and then Hungary came into NATO. So it's slowly but surely we're always kind of narrowing Russia somehow in, instead of joining them, instead of saying, guys, just be part of this club, you know, let's do this together, let's do business, let's be happy, let's, you know, whatever. And so I don't know what I'm saying with this. What I'm saying is that we gave Russian politicians the chance to kind of turn, say, us against the world, and we also, in some way, provoke a reaction, because if you put a bear or an animal in a corner and you keep poking it with a stick and blaming it and pushing it, it will fight back, and it will not fight back in a rational way. It will fight back with violence. So I don't know if this is what they're saying to the nation, or if this is what you hear from your brother, for example, or what, you know?
I'm not watching everything what propaganda says. Like, I don't need that rubbish, I'd say, in my mind. I know just the main directions I try to follow, but right now, for example, you know, what's going on in Ukraine with the modern technology in 21st century, it's impossible to hide stuff. I mean, people have their mobile phones, at least. So much information being posted on social media every day. And it's just right here. So they have to come up with new excuses daily to reprogram the truth into their lives, and to kind of explain or prove their lies to people of Russia. So I don't think they feel really confident right now, but just kind of in hysteria, have to come up with new stuff all the time. And it's insane that really sounds insane if you look at it from outside. But maybe if you've been living in a bubble and it's like there is no way out, no fresh air inside this bubble, it's hard to not believe it, you know. Speaking about like Western world, so to say, and Russia being against each other, I would, well, me personally, I would never call myself that smart or educated about politics. But just as I know that inside Russia, what's been happening in last 20 years, this our government that we have right now, they have done so much crime inside the country for their own people that it's only getting escalated. And at some point, I feel like right now, they have kind of, this sounds really bad, this sounds scary, but the situation is scary. They have nothing to lose.
That's a very bad thing, because that means it doesn't really matter what you do. You don't care anymore.
And we see the result. We see the result. This is insane what is happening. This is completely insane. That's why like it was a big surprise for me and for many people. Never seen it coming for real.
But on the other hand, I mean, if we look at history, then I mean, the time from the Second World War minus the Yugoslavian wars, that is the longest peaceful period that we have had in Europe forever. I mean, like, it is, you know, like war is somehow something that has always followed us. But I don't necessarily think that people expected Russia to invade Ukraine. But I guess what I was trying to say earlier is that I'm thinking if we in the Western world have somehow pushed Russia to a place where they, like you say, where they feel that they don't have anything to lose. And you're saying that they don't have anything to lose because they have done so much bad stuff inside the country that it doesn't really matter anymore what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how a lot of Russian opposition feels like. People who understand what's going on. So, you know, situation with Navalny, for example, like last few years, what's been happening with him, and people were protesting, like massively protesting. A year ago, when he came back after being poisoned and came back to Russia, they locked him in. Yeah, kind of unexpected. Now what they're gonna give him like 1,000 years in jail for whatever reason, the ridiculous reasons they're trying to come up with. Like massive protests started, and there is a new generation, fresh blood of young people who already learned to speak, to learn to think as free people, to actually analyze situation. And these young people grew up, and they're trying to raise their voices to change the situation, because it's their country, and they want to live in democratic, free country. With good economics, medicine, education, whatever. It's just being destroyed basically by the current government. So this massive protest started like first after Crimea, and then last year, year and a half ago already, it's been massive. So I mean, that was kind of big alarm for the current government, for Putin's government. And by that, I mean, they have nothing to lose. They like have no shame in front of their people, and looks like no shame in front of the rest of the world either.
Are you afraid that this will escalate, that it will become bigger?
Try not to think about it right now. I got very scared, like when, like a week ago, so the talks about atomic nuclear war was here in the news. I got very scared. But just try not to think about it right now. And also, to be honest, there's so much visual content and news coming from Ukraine that, like, I don't have a lot of other people around me here and in other countries where Russian people live, my friends. We don't just have time to think about anything else. Like, also speaking about like big topic, maybe like Russophobia, like canceling Russian nation in total. That will happen. I guess it will happen. It's already happening a little bit, but I think it's going to happen. Like, it's going to escalate in the future. And it is shitty, yeah. But it doesn't worry me right now because I'm much more worried about people dying. That worries me much more at the moment.
But when you heard this and when this started, I guess, as you said, you didn't see it coming. How did you feel? I mean, did you function? I mean, could you go to work and do your comedy and stuff like that? Or how has this affected you, let's say, emotionally?
Yeah, the same day I had comedy show. Like, I had very busy 2 weeks booked with shows daily. That was not easy at all. No. I have been thinking about this a bit. Like, okay, I'm completely not able to go on stage now and be funny because I don't feel funny. This is serious. It's not like me having my personal issues. It's a lot. But same time, I saw that, okay, I chose to be a comedian professionally. That means I should be doing it in any situation somehow, keep on practicing my craft and stuff. Then I also had obligations to do the shows because now I start my own show. That's like, I have to be there to run it. But yeah, that was not easy at all. And same night I had a show. I was probably just lucky that in the crowd there were mostly people who knew me, so nobody was thinking about giving me any kind of bad attitude. But of course I had to speak about it, and then just lashed out. That was pure improvisation, and I made some jokes. For example, that it was surprise for me that it all happened. I mean, I didn't give my consent, but whenever you deal with abusive men, it doesn't matter if you give consent or not, you're gonna get fucked anyway.
Yeah.
And I did it. Russia attacked Ukraine at 5 a.m. in the morning. Thursday night. No, guys, what I was doing at 5 a.m. I was in my bed. I couldn't sleep because I was thinking that my mother doesn't love me, and I choose to be a comedian when I'm like 30 years old now. So I went to bed. I fall asleep as an amateur comedian, woke up as an international aggressor.
Yeah, that's a change overnight.
Yeah, kind of.
But then I guess the shock comes in, and you get depressed from it, or like, do you know what I mean? Like in the beginning when you're when you hear the news, then you get adrenaline, and then you kind of crash off, right?
It's like we're never ready for this kind of situations. Because normally when something bad happens to you, even it doesn't matter how bad it is, like I think this is the worst what is happening right now. This is the worst. Just we are not physically there. I'm not physically there, luckily, yeah. But it is happening and I can't take my mind out of it. It's just the worst what could ever happen in the life. So normally when something bad happens, at least you know that, okay, it might get, it might be escalating until this point, but I'm gonna get down and it will be over at some point, yeah. But this level of uncertainty, it's stressing you so much. So I think I was like in despair, in constant despair, like a week and a half, because I was waking up every day, scrolling the news. I was checking the news like the whole day, and before going to bed, and I couldn't switch it off because it's not just, it's not good to have a screen time before the bed. No, I need to know what's going on because it's too important. So of course I was checking it all the time, all the news, and just thinking that you never know when it's going to be over, and it just looks like it's about to get worse and worse, and it doesn't give you like time to breathe. But I've read somewhere that this is how we react. We need, when something completely like very stressful happens, you need at least 6 days to adapt. Even when you're doing the best, everything the best you can to adapt. That's what I was trying to do my best to adapt. So right now, at least I'm not like, I'm not in hysteria the all day long. I'm not like crying all day long, but I used to.
Do you?
Yeah.
And because you mentioned a little bit Russophobia. I mean, for me, Russophobia, at least here in the Czech Republic, has lived a very good life for a really long time because of something that happened in 1968 when Russia came, or Soviet Union sent tanks because the Czechs wanted to get more freedom under communism, and so there has always been a Russophobia here, at least, and in some way there has been this mystical Russophobia in other parts of the world that is kind of a leftovers of the Cold War or World War II and so on, and now what I see is that, because here in the Prague, oh, this was great, in Czech Republic, they didn't like Ukrainians either. Now they like Ukrainians, and they just they moved the hate from Ukrainians over to the Russians. I guess where you live in Barcelona, you haven't really had a lot of Russophobia in the past, but do you feel it now?
It's maybe again, then just, I don't notice it. I mean, definitely it's happening somewhere, but then I'm not focusing my attention on that. And it's, but I think, yeah, it's going to be happening. It's kind of natural.
But here, what I'm hearing here is that, like real estate companies don't want to sell apartments to Russians. You can't get medical help some places because you're Russian, and these are people who have maybe lived here for many, many years, and obviously have nothing to do with this war, like they just happen to have the wrong passport. No one has canceled your shows or said, no, we don't want to listen to your jokes because you're Russian or anything like that.
Well, that sounds really bad, what you telling me about people not getting apartments or medical service. That sounds really bad. But shows, I had this two situations quite difficult for me, and during the first week. But the first weekend after the war started, I had a show on Friday and then on Saturday. Yeah, so those are like big shows, and there are people coming to parties. They feel good, they drink and stuff. So in the first show Friday, we had like a group of hecklers. I think they were English middle-aged men, pretty drunk already. So they're walking like in the middle of the show, and they started heckling already the person who was before me, just screaming something stupid, whatever. And when I went on stage and I said that I'm Russian, because I think I have to, it's kind of, I have an accent anyway. I mean, there's gonna be a tension in the room, like an elephant in the room, and I have to say. So they screamed very loudly, "You attacked Ukraine!" And I have to say, I'm not gonna explain how I felt, because I felt terrible for multiple reasons, because I'm already depressed about the whole situation, and now being blamed about it in the middle of the show, that ruins the show, and the whole room feels uncomfortable because of that already. You know, we're not going to laugh. As people, even though like the rest of the crowd, they were not feeling bad towards me, but they were feeling bad about the situation. They were feeling the tension. And I try to turn it into the joke, the one that I explained to you before, that not my decision, blah, 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 blah. And he kept on screaming on top, and he was screaming the whole show, different stuff. But just keep on going. And that was bad, but that was my first encounter with hecklers, and I was very freshly traumatized. It just happened. So the next show, I was going on stage feeling really like, how I'm gonna do this? Okay, like gather yourself together, it's gonna be okay. And I go on stage and I say that I'm Russian, and somebody started booing me. Like there were people on my left, they were now American guys, they started screaming, "Boo!" very loudly. And again, these guys, either they didn't really feel it, they were just drunk, and they thought they didn't think too long what they're doing. They was not really feeling it, like about the situation. They just knew that it's kind of a trendy hot topic on the news. Russia is doing a bad thing, let's boo them. Luckily, that was not like sincere bad hecklers. And I've managed to win over this situation and turn it into a really, really good show. And these same people who were booing me, they were congratulating me after the show, they were laughing and stuff. But I was shaking inside. Yeah. And I was crying right after I left the stage. I did a really good job, actually. That was because I managed to turn this situation into a good show somehow. But yeah, that was bad. And I also organized the next week, the second week of the war, I organized a charity show to raise some funds to send it over to Ukraine. I thought, who else if not me? I'm the only originally Russian comedian here in Barcelona. So I organized the show and I was hosting it. We raised a lot of money actually, and we sent it to Ukraine. And all the comedians were so happy about it. Everyone besides of me, because I kind of logically understand that we did what we should have done and it's a good job, but I'm not feeling like at ease at all because the war is still happening. We're just trying to help somehow, but it's not helping. And running this whole show was so hard for me. Like I was on the edge of nervous breakdown all the time. As I was hosting it, I was doing some intermediate jokes and welcoming comedians on stage, and in between I was just holding my tears. And as soon as the show was over, I left the club and I started crying in the middle of the street right away. It was so hard for me because there were Ukrainians in the crowd who came to support the show. People who are not used to comedy, first of all, they just wanted to support fundraising. And me, Russian, were hosting the show. I don't know, I could see the pain in the eyes, and there was it's just too many emotions and things to talk about.
Yeah, I think anyone, like, I think it's really hard to understand what these people are feeling, because I mean, some of the people that have come here, you know, you realize when you start talking to them that they might never go back home. Their home might be gone. They might have lost some of their family. It's a lot of stuff that is hard for us that are not with the victims of this to even understand and connect to, you know, because if I think about, like, if I wouldn't be able to go to Iceland because Iceland is under attack and I wouldn't know something about where my family, it's a thought that I don't even want to think through, you know.
Are you speaking now about Ukrainians?
Yeah, how they feel about it, and the same goes for you, and that's actually what I wanted to ask you about, because how is this? Because I mean, I know you haven't been going back to Russia very much, and you don't necessarily have the most beautiful relationship with your mother, for example, which we talked about when we recorded and will come later on here. But how will this affect you? I mean, do you see yourself going back to Russia? Would you ever go back to live there?
I mean, yeah, that's another topic, because it's not okay. I'm not considering going to live in Russia ever, but because of the current situation, the internal political situation in Russia, all the repressions that are only getting worse and worse, I don't think it's going to be possible for me to go there. And I have no idea for how long. Maybe for a really long time. Because, okay, if we don't think about that, just all the flights are canceled, it's
the practical part. Yeah.
It's practically close to impossible to get there. Second thing is, me crossing the border now will put me into danger, me and also my family, because they're related to me, to get a jail time or a huge, massive financial fee.
Why is that?
For me, expressing disagreement. I've been doing this. It's on my social media. It's everywhere. And I mean, you guys might not believe it, but it is happening. They're checking you, like they will stop you on the border, of course, and they will go through your history and everything, find it out. Because right now, this law, this new fresh law is functioning in Russia already very well. People been getting arrested for that. It's very vague explanation of the word, like of the law. Like, you should not raise anti-Russian propaganda, kind of, that is said, but that just means that pronouncing word war is not allowed. People on the street are trying to protest. We are for the peace, not even mentioning Ukraine or Russia or war. They're still being arrested. Talking about the whole situation, not supporting this, not liking the government, that's already like crossing the line. And as cases shown already in the last year, if you do anything anti-political, like show your opposition to Russian government, it's not only yourself who you put in danger, but they also can come after your family. Because they already know that, okay, young people, they're not scared about themselves being hurt, but they're gonna be scared about their family being hurt. So we're gonna hurt their family, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, this is gonna take. I don't know. I don't even see how, but it's gonna take a really long time to get to some sort of a normal again, I guess. And I don't know. I admire what you're telling me, Mila. I mean, I knew, of course, from our previous recording that people can hear later that you're a strong woman and you're capable of processing things in a very admirable way. I mean, the relationship that you described with your mother and these kind of things, and how you kept on going, and how you. So I can imagine though that this whole thing has been really, really hard on you, and it's not going anywhere. You know, it doesn't seem to be leaving us somehow. It's not like a snowstorm that goes away. It seems to be. It's going to change probably the world forever, right?
Yeah. Thank you very much. But like again, like it's hard on me. It's hard on us Russians, but we can't think about it at the moment because it's much harder on Ukrainians. Those people are dying.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's not a moment for me even to consider how hard it is for us, but it's later we will.
Yeah. But I thank you for adding this to our episode, and now, guys, what you will hear is our original recording where we kind of talk more about Mila's childhood, teenage years, development, dancing, comedy, and life in Barcelona, and a lot of different things. And so we will play this before, and Mila, I will cut the recording now, but I will stop it now, but I would like to talk to you for 5 more minutes without recording.
Yes, of course. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So I'll stop it now. Episode, and now, guys, what you will hear is our original recording where we kind of talk more about Mila's childhood, teenage years, development, dancing, comedy, and life in Barcelona, and a lot of different things. And Mila.
Hello.
Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you very much.
Mila Kopaeva.
Yeah.
How do I say that?
Kopaeva.
Kopaeva. That's Russian.
That's Russian.
But your name is not just Mila. You have a longer...
It's Ludmila. Yes, the Saint Ludmila of Czech Republic.
Yeah, so we have a saint on the podcast. First time for anything. What are you?
I'm a starting comedian.
You're a startup comedian. The startup industry is
I used to, let's say like about 4 or 5 months ago, I used to say I'm a wannabe comedian.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I can call myself a comedian now already.
Yeah, you can, because I found you. You're on a European tour now. You're performing in different European countries, right?
In fact, it's right, but it sounds big to me.
Yeah, but you know, fake it till you make it.
This is a part of my joke.
No, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually, so to be honest, guys, I found Mila on a comedy page in Prague, and I just saw that last week I saw that they were advertising that she was in town performing, and so I just sent you a message on Facebook. I had no idea if you would see it or not, and then told you that I had no fucking clue what we would talk about, but maybe we should talk.
We should talk.
And here we are.
We should talk.
Yeah. So you've been performing here in Prague now. What, 3 shows or what?
So I arrived on Wednesday.
And we're recording on a Monday now, so you've been 4 days here.
I did I guess 3 shows in English, 1 show in Russian.
And how was it?
Amazing.
Mm.
Well, not always amazing. I mean, one English show was kind of rough for comedians.
Mm.
I have to say that was the worst crowd I have seen in my life.
Uh-huh.
Was really difficult for everyone. The host was struggling, all the comedians were suffering. Like it was a first night, I guess, or the night before they introduced new measures here. So the
More COVID hysteria.
right, yeah, like curfew and everything. So I
Mm.
think people just went out to drink until they drop, and they were not paying attention on the stage. Like they were not listening to comedians
Yeah.
talking loudly. It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Difficult.
it was an interesting thing because we are here in the Czech Republic where 65% of the people are vaccinated, and it works super well, so well that they are locked at home now and cannot go out to the pub after 10 o'clock. And when the news came actually last week when you were about to perform your shows, then I even thought about it. I thought, shit, and I would never go out on a Thursday and get wasted. I thought maybe it's time not to get wasted. It's gonna be the last time, because who knows if you still need to lock people in when they're vaccinated, then when are we gonna be able to let them out? I don't know.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad, especially for like, people from our industry.
Mm.
Shows are getting cancelled. You can't really do anything.
Mm.
It's crazy. Yeah. And most of the comedy shows happens at night, in bars.
Mm. But this European tour, is this like a fancy? Are you flying around in a private jet or something, or because you're going from here to Berlin, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Berlin on the cheapest train I could find.
Uh-huh. So there's no fanciness.
No fanciness at all.
Any backstage, great food or free booze or something?
Free booze, yes. 1 drink or 2 drinks if you got a good. If you have a good show, you can take 2 drinks. Or maybe somebody likes you, your show, and they will buy you a drink. That's it. But I'm not really a big drinker, so it doesn't help me that much.
No. But what is it that makes, comedy attractive to you? Like coming here now, you came here, you do 3 shows, or four shows. Sorry. Or what makes it exciting?
I'm just starting, so a person with my little experience, they would call a baby comedian.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's maybe a bit unusual for such a baby comedian start travel it, but I'm very dedicated, and I think it gives me a lot of experience first because I practice different room. I perform for different audience in different countries, and I can meet a lot of people, a lot of good comedians.
Mm. Keep talking.
Okay.
Stitching your microphone a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Actually, I still have like a day job, and I'm spending now all my vacation
on this,
on my like money I can spend it. So I'm not getting anything. I'm getting a lot of experience
and beer.
Yeah.
Or drinks.
Yeah. A lot of experience.
And you get to see new cities.
I do, yeah. Actually, I never been to Prague, for example, and I don't know when I would go. So I'm here now, and I love it.
Yeah. But in the past, you did a lot of different stuff. I mean, you were a dance teacher and a dancer. You worked on cruise ships. You were cleaning a pizzeria. You've done a lot of different things. Where did it all start? Where are you from originally?
I was born in a little town in Russia, on the north. It's called Kostomuksha. It's a Karelian name, and Karelia, it's like a region in Russia and in Finland, and a small ethnic group of people who used to speak Karelian language, which actually sounds more like Finnish than Russian. Yeah, I'm from there. And, I can tell you a curious fact about Kostomuksha. Like it's in Karelian language, so it's made from two words, Kosta Musta.
Mm.
That's translated as black revenge.
Great.
And I have a joke about it.
Oh, it's a very positive name.
Sorry?
It's a very positive name for a
It-
town.
You know, like, it's Norse, dark. All the, all the mythology for it usually, and like stories from the northern countries are really dark. So I believe there is something about it. Yeah, there is a legend. I can't really remember well what happened, but there was something about, yeah, black revenge makes sense because some people lived on this land, other bad people came over, they killed a lot of people there, robbed them, took away their women and something like that. So
It sounds very much like Vikings visited or something.
yeah, because it's close to Scandinavia.
So you say you have a joke about it. I mean, is that part of your comedy program? I mean, do you make fun of your hometown?
It's just one of my intro, intro jokes, intro lines. And I was not going to use it, but once I said this fact about my hometown is called Black Revenge to some of my comedian friends, and they were like, wow, you have to make a joke about it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And yeah, I did. Because a lot of my material is kind of dark. And also I think I'm a little bit weird. I'm like a alternative comedian, I'd say.
Do you want me to comment on that or?
If please.
No.
Why would you ask if you don't want to?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're a little bit different.
It's like a perfect heckler.
Yeah, you're a little bit different.
Little bit. All right. So I need sometimes to kind of make a disclaimer, or introduce my audience to that kind of material that is going to be unusual. So they need to be prepared for that. So I just throw a little joke about that, and they already, whoa, okay. And then you say a dark joke, and they already prepared because they think, oh, it's fun. She can say dark joke because she said that it's going to be dark.
Yeah, so you set the tone in the beginning in a way, or the atmosphere. But so I checked this town actually. I went on Google and I was checking it, and it's like an old mining town, 30,000 inhabitants, close to Finland, as you said, and it's super far north. So you get long winters, super cold, and then you have sunshine in the night in the summer, right?
Yes. It's like a polar night, polar day, and I love it actually. I used to enjoy it very much. I don't know what about now. Maybe I would have some problem sleeping in the middle of summer without dark curtains. But I used to sleep just perfectly with sunshine. It's not like sunshine, but it's light.
Bright. Yeah.
It's bright.
It's the same what we have in Iceland, where I'm from,
Okay,
and so
yeah.
we learn to sleep through this, but it was funny when you came here today. I asked you, what do you like about Praia? It's cold. I like it's cold because you live in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And then you told me that in Barcelona it's warm outside and cold inside, and here it's cold outside and warm inside.
As it should be. That's proper distribution of temperature.
Yeah. But are you ever like in Barcelona? Are you underdressed? Do you know what I mean? Like, because when I go to Spain, I see someone, it's maybe 12, 14 degrees outside, and they're wearing a winter coat, and I'm on my T-shirt because in Iceland this is summer.
I'm more like local now.
Yeah.
Usually people who are wearing like flip flops and shorts and T-shirts winter time, calendar winter in Spain, those are tourists, and we know those are tourists.
Yeah.
Like, why do they do this? It's winter. I used to be the same when I was just coming to Barcelona first, like a tourist myself, and now not anymore. No, I wear what people should be wearing in wintertime.
Yeah, you're conforming with the crowd.
Yes, and I feel like also you get used to things.
Mm. But so back to your hometown, Black Revenge.
Okay, let's give it a proper name. It's Kostomuksha.
Yeah, I like. It's easier. It's a very difficult thing to pronounce for me. But what? So it was a mining town. I mean, is it a nice place now? Has it been kind of maintained nicely, or is it one of those older industrial towns which hasn't really been paid any attention to for the last 30 years since the end of communism?
Okay, let's start with you said earlier that it's like old mining town. It's very young. It's very young. That's why it's kind of different from most of province towns in Russia.
Mm.
It's not older than 40 years for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
A bit.
Me and Google are wrong.
A bit, but it's a mining town. Yeah, they built a mining factory and the town around it. So my parents, who are now like 65 years old, their generation were the people who first arrived to that place to build a town around the mining factory.
Mm.
All over from Soviet Union. So it's quite mixed. Like it's not only people from the north who are originally from Karelia. There are people who came from areas where is Ukraine or
Belarus or
Belarus, yes, and from Siberia. Somebody came also from there. Yeah, it's quite mixed, and like my generation, my brother generation, who's like 7 years older than me, they also quite mixed. I don't know. I've always been proud of people from my town because I could see that they are like mixed blood. You know, when you mix north with the south, something interesting comes out usually.
Mm. And you said you had a brother. You obviously had parents and grandparents and everything there. I mean, was there a big family there that you had, or you have?
Usually in Russia, and especially if you're coming from a small place, like my town is very small. My parents both are from villages. Families are really like stick together. You know, you don't you don't like spend your life most of your days only with your like close family. I mean, your parents and your siblings, but aunts, grandparents, your cousins, all of them are very much involved into your life daily. And I have a huge amount of relatives, and I've been growing together with my cousins like if they would be my siblings. My mom, she has like seven brothers and sisters. It's quite a big family. Each of those have like 3 kids.
So it's a big crowd.
So
you're like 10% of the town.
No, not all of them live in Kostomuksha.
And what did your parents do? I mean, so they were working around the mining then, or?
Yeah, my dad was working at this mining factory all his life. Now they are both retired already. My mom, she used to work on the customs first, because I didn't mention that Kostomuksha is on the border with Finland, so it's like 60 kilometers from the customs. Yeah.
Did you see that Netflix series, the Finnish one, that happens there on the border town or borderland or something it's called?
No, now I'm very curious about
I will
it.
send it to you. That's a great one because so it's a I'm pretty sure it's around that area because it's there's a lot of lakes. I mean, yeah, well, it's Finland. There's lakes everywhere there in northern and in Siberia as well, and northern Russia. But you need to check it out. It's really, really good. And this is this policeman who is kind of autistic in a way, or has some sort of a syndrome that. But he has visions, and he can, solve very complicated cases and feel where people are and stuff like that. It's super, super cool. What I found interesting about it also is just the characters, because, and I'm curious, are you guys the same like the guys in Finland, that they say one word maybe every 24 hours?
No, completely no. And it surprised me because later I moved to Finland, and because we lived on the border, we went to Finland often just for weekend. Finnish people were coming to my hometown also to just buy cheap gasoline or something. And as much as I know Finnish people now, they always try to kind of explain or excuse the shyness or cold behavior by just being from the north. And
but that's bullshit. I'm from Iceland. We're not like this,
right? And people from Kostomuksha or from Russia, overall from Russia, from even places more like
further north.
Further north, yes, they are not like that at all. They are energetic. Yeah, maybe depressed, but in a different way. Like Dostoevsky depressed. We're all gonna die. Life is hard. Have to suffer, but it's different.
Yeah,
it's completely different thing.
Yeah. And how was your, how was life there for you when you were young? Were you inspired by your parents or pushed by your parents? I mean, what kind of, what dreams did they have for you, if any?
Oh, my parents and my family in total is kind of emotional topic for me, but I can talk about it. So I'm 33 years old now, and I just started realizing what was going on, what kind of patterns was happening inside our family about like 2 years ago. And so basically I think that my mom, she's a narcissist, and that was a reason for my not only childhood but also my whole life up till now being kind of complicated. And I carry a lot of traumas, and I think I was not really free to fly wherever I want, do whatever I want most of my life. But I had an illusion of this, I had to say, when I was a really young kid, because I'm very different from most of my family, which is not good, not bad. I think I was just different. For example, most of them are like mathematicians. They have like that kind of mind, including my mom and my big brother. I was always more creative. Like I like to draw, paint. I like to dance. That was my two main things ever since I
more creative artist.
Yeah, I'm very empathic. I can feel people. I can talk to people. I like to be around people. And so when I was a kid, they did send me to art school so I can draw, and they sent me to dance classes so I can dance. But later on, when I was growing, and it was about time to choose my life, my future, my profession. I was told that all that was bullshit and it's not bringing you anywhere. You have to do something that will provide you a job, and that will be secure, and you definitely can enter that university and stuff like that. That was kind of excuses I remember they told me when they actually forced me to go study economics, which I completely didn't understand why. I remember I was crying. I was crying. I was in hysteria. They were like, "You have to do that." Like, okay. Yeah. So that was kind of strange to me, because I thought, like, why would you send me to art school, spending half my day, 5 days a week there, when later on you tell me that it's nothing, it was for nothing. Why? It makes no sense to me at all.
But if we talk about like narcissism in general, like I mean, I guess that everybody who's listening knows what narcissism is, so we don't necessarily need to go into that. But what were, I mean, so you're kind of saying that you realized this later in life, that those patterns. But what kind of patterns were these? I mean, obviously this, that what you described is that whatever you wanted to do was not good enough, so there had to be some other path that you should follow to make your parents happy, not necessarily yourself. That was not like an, you know, that was not one of the criteria for your education, if you were happy with it or not. But what other, like, you know, was it like, is it your father or your mom or both of them, or
I think that my dad was also kind of oppressed, and maybe up till now still oppressed by my mom. Power. So in total, she always positioned herself as a victim. Like, I'm doing so much for all of you guys, and this is what you give me back. Why are you doing this to me? Even coming back to that question about education, like, I have a big brother who is on different positions than me. Like, they call it golden child or something. So he's her favorite and everybody's favorite. And actually, the reasons, as I mentioned, for my mom was not to let me choose my education. She was like, I can't go through this again. Go through this, she means that being nervous or worried about her child to not get in the university from the first try, and just wait one more year preparing or something like that. That was happened with my brother. So he wanted to be an IT engineer. He's quite talented in that, and now he's very successful at his job. And first time he didn't get through. Nobody said him nothing. They supported him, and he stayed at home just preparing for 1 year.
Yeah, but if it would have been you, then, or if it was in your case, that would be a problem.
Yeah, and mom said, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, being worried so much or disappointed. I guess that was maybe behind the lines. But now I think back about it, it makes no sense, because this is my life.
But if you would have done what she expected of you, would she then have been happy? Or she would have found something else to make herself a victim about?
I don't know, because she was kind of, metaphorically choking me all the time, like not letting me do not this, not that. The way I dress, the way I talk, people with whom I try to be friends. I remember back in my childhood, I never could build solid long-term relationship with people. I think now it has something to do with her, because she would just, whenever I start developing a relationship with someone, like friends, she would either find a sneaky criticism about these people. That actually happened with my first boyfriend. Or just not letting me go hang out with them, finding some reason that it's late, it's dangerous, you have to study, whatever. And big part of my childhood, I was just sitting home alone, basically reading books. That was my fun. Actually, I enjoyed it, but now I don't think that was very healthy for a child.
But and so when did you realize that there was something wrong?
I knew there was a lot of things wrong.
Yeah.
I knew there was a lot of things wrong, because I was always suffering. Like, I moved later on. I moved from Kostomuksha to Finland when I was 18 already. I guess just turned 18. And now I think that was kind of escape. Back in the days, I was thinking that I'm doing it because I was in love. Yeah, because I really had a guy who lived in Finland already, also from my hometown. And we started dating or something like that. We had some romantic story between us, but I'm pretty sure, I was very sure back in the days that if I would have something interesting for me to do, like um, studies or some hobbies or some circle, some support, like at home in Russia, I would never go to Finland. Actually, I never wanted to live in Finland originally.
You just didn't want to live at home.
Yeah, now I realize that it was just escape. Because if I would have to stay in Russia, even if I moved to another town, I would be still very much under control, like on a leash.
But I think it's very common in these cases. I mean, I've had some people on my previous episode that have been helping people with narcissism, and narcissism is a very complicated. There are multiple different types and all that. I mean, it's not like a straight cut one type of person, but what you're describing with the victim is a very common thing that, I've done all this for and this is how you thank me for it, and this is how you appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then when you try to satisfy that, or you try to do the right thing, then there's just something else. So you're always running after a moving target. And I think actually a lot of victims or children of narcissist parents, they end up moving because it creates the distance that they need somehow to create their own life, to kind of step out of the shadow in a way.
At least not to suffer every day. That's what I was saying. That you asked me when did I realize that something was wrong. So I moved to Finland, and of course I was coming back home just to visit, and every time I was visiting, I was terrified. I never was coming home like home.
Because what she would ask you then, or
something would happen every time. Something would happen, and I never knew the reason. But I was going there, and I knew there will be a scandal, or she will be after me. She will scream at me for something, and I felt like guilty, being absolutely sure that I am guilty, not even understanding for what.
That's the worst crime.
And she would tell me for what, which would say again, not really making any sense, but still, yeah. And every time I would go to visit them, either on the day one or somewhere during my stay, or even no situation allows you to make a scandal, it will happen just at the door when I would leave. And I would come back to Finland and feeling depressed for days. Actually, I had a first complete outbreak, when I came back from home, from Russia to Finland, and how do you call it? Is it like a depression attack?
Breakdown or anxiety attack, or
I was crying,
panic attack,
day and night. It was panic attack for a week. I couldn't go to work because I couldn't sleep the whole night. I would never sleep. I would cry all the time. I started having like breathing problems as well. Couldn't inhale. So then I had to go to doctor, and she said, "You are stressed." Here are these pills. I don't know what pills were that, because there was nobody around me, and when you are in this kind of situation, you don't really process things. You just do whatever doctor says to finally sleep. That was the thing. I needed to sleep. Yeah, and that was absolutely because of visiting home.
But it's I don't know. I mean, you said your mom is 60 something. I mean, and I think there is a lot. And maybe one of the reasons why narcissism is such a big topic, or has become such a big topic, let's say in the last maybe 15 to 20 years, it has become a bigger topic, and it's I think it's getting even bigger and bigger. I think to some extent people at that age, that like, I don't know, that are maybe from 60 to 80, 90 years old, they are a product of a very different society than what you are, and I often, have a feeling that now we have this idea that children are made out of love. That you're with someone and you love that person and you want to build a family.
Or do you want to say that people are like having children more consciously now?
Yeah. Whereas in the past, I mean, they didn't have the same access to contraception, for example, and a lot of these families that, like your grandparents, my grandparents, they just needed workers. They just needed someone to work in the farm. Like they just needed more kids to provide and to gather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they weren't loved. They were work, or they had a purpose or something.
Yeah, could be that, or just unexplained tradition. Just in your minds. It still runs, I think, in small places like Kostomuksha. That at certain age you have to get married, and at certain age you have to get children. You get first, okay, where's the second one, and so on and so on. It's still the same with my brother, for example.
Yeah, but like you said, your mom had 7 siblings, right?
Yeah.
So, like, okay, in my family, my great grandparent, father, he was a farmer. He just needed workers in the farm. So what's better than to fuck and get a new worker in 9 months?
It could be. Do you know these crazy stories? For example, my mom, she's from the village, right? She really had to. Her parents had to go to work, all day, and there were no one. There were no like kindergartens or things like that. No, so if you have this many children, it's hard to manage it, and if you are too small to control yourself, and there is no one around to take care of you, they would just tie your leg to the chair.
Yeah. So you wouldn't leave?
Like an animal, yeah. So you just stay there, though they kind of protect you this way, so you're safe. But how traumatizing could it be for...
I actually, this was done to me when I was a kid, not to a chair, but I was put on a rope to a stick in the garden, so I wouldn't go. At least I was outside. It was fun, but I don't think that people would be... This wouldn't be something that would be normal today. But it was normal when I was growing up, and I'm grateful for it because, that meant that when I was a 2-year-old, I could spend the whole day outside, but I couldn't leave. I couldn't go out to the street or get into any danger. But I could move around in the garden on a rope. It was kind of like having a dog,
Yeah.
But anyway, so you started working on this, and obviously, as you're describing, you're saying that you got this panic attack and it lasted for long, and is that when you started? I mean, what have you been doing? You've been going to therapy or reading about it, and
Oh, not yet in those years. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but since then, I mean, did you?
I started thinking about it, yeah, but I still couldn't really accept the idea that maybe my mom doesn't really love me, and there is something really toxic about our relationship. Somehow, it's even easier to believe that you are the
problem.
The problem, yeah. Maybe it's easier in the beginning.
Because they program it into from when you're really small. So.
Also, yeah, because I'm programmed, yes, and the whole family around me also acknowledge it. Everybody's playing their own role in this sick environment. Yeah, so now I'd say I believe that it's kind of a miracle that some of us, narcissist survivors from like a narcissistic family, it's a miracle that some of us realize it one day, because I could believe that it would be very normal for a person like this to never even realize what's going on or start working on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think that when you hear people talk about this, and I always, and when they have realized this and they start dealing with it, that I'm always so happy for them, because even if they just have 10 years more to live, if those 10 years can be better than the time before, because yeah, it's such a complicated, because physical violence, I mean, leaves a lot of trauma, but it's and maybe you never heal from it, but it's so visible somehow, and it's so easy to explain it. It's so easy to say, yeah, my dad punched me, or my mom kicked me, or whatever, and we can relate to it somehow, because it's something that, yeah, I broke his finger, or the nose broke, or a blue eye, or something. It's very much in our face. But when someone talks about trauma caused by psychological warfare, like I would like to call narcissism, because it's very much behind closed doors, it's very much secret, it's very much dressed up in, victim or helpful or a saint or whatever the role that the narcissist takes. I think to the outside world, people will not always, buy into it. They won't necessarily even believe you when you talk about it. And they won't see that, I don't know, because there isn't this physical thing in it somehow.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Of course, because it can even be behind the doors, inside. Like, I mean, inside the inside the family. I mean, this is so subtle, and the worst thing that my mom would do to me, it will be always just between me and her. Not so that my brother could see it, not so that my dad could see it. This is how it works. But there is also explanation, because in fact they know what they're doing. And of course they don't want to be discovered. That's the biggest fear, to be actually exposed or recognized as a wrong person.
But I also think that, as you said earlier, that, and I actually read it in some book about the evolutionary biology, and that it's not 100% sure. Some moms see their daughters as a competition. They see them as, because when we were tribal animals, in where there was one male and maybe 3 females, and then somebody grew up and oh shit, she's more pretty than me, we need to get rid of her, I need to kill her, or whatever. Unfortunately, we still have this, or some of us at least still have this DNA in us, or this, how do you say, programming. So it's it's not even sure that maybe your mom just saw you as a competition.
Could be, yeah, could be. Also, because it may. I saw that she was seeing me as a competition, or just jealous to my dad, because we used to have amazing relationship with him when I was very, very young. When I was a child, we loved each other enormously. He was very sweet to me. He was very kind. We were playing together, and I loved him, and I was always trying to spend more time with him, because he gave me love. He was giving me love. He was telling me story, and I think he taught me a lot about how to see, how to be creative as well, how to see interesting things in daily situations and surroundings. So maybe she could see that, and that was uncomfortable. At this moment, I can't explain how did it happen, but I'm pretty sure that it's all this strategist of narcissist, maybe. Me and my dad, we have like no connection at all. I mean, we never fought. Like, there was nothing for us to
argue about,
to argue. Yeah, there was no situation like that, but just slowly it diminished. Like, we don't really communicate.
She got in between.
She is in between. Like, even Even all the contacts I have with my family are through her. If I want to talk to my dad, I have to talk through her. So then it's not going to be a sincere conversation.
She's afraid to lose control of the situations.
She wants to control everything and everyone around. Yeah. Sounds like every time when I have to talk about it, about my mom, I explain these awful things and just sounds like I hate her and I don't like it.
No, but you can love someone who behaves like an idiot. I mean, you can also love, like if you had a child and that child would kill someone, you would still love your child, I think this is, because I've read a lot about narcissism and I have it around me as well. I think this is where often people struggle the most, because you can love someone who is bad. It's possible. And in this case, like, this is probably the only trick that your mom knows. She's just a one-trick pony in this, she doesn't know any other way, and she thinks this is normal. This is her normal. But I think in your case, and I'm not a therapist, and this is free advice. You just need to learn to live with it somehow and still be able to accept her as that you have a mom,
Yeah, what I'm trying to do now, don't like my therapy, my recovery step by step. I think first of all, I need to finally become a whole person, grow up. So I need to kind of be a mother for myself as well. I feel like it's beautiful. The moment when you realize what was going on all this time is
because
beautiful.
that's when you can change.
It's very liberating. You can see things wider. It's like really you getting out of cage mentally and physically as well. Because all my life I've been kind of trying to escape physically mostly. And now I feel emotional or psychological escape.
But I think the physical escape is super important, because then you get away from you get a distance to the situation that enables you to see it differently. Because when you're in it, when you're physically still in the circle where everything is happening, you never see the big picture.
Of course, yeah.
So I think it's very common for people who have been experiencing this in their family is to create this distance, and that then leads them to the let's say the psychological or non-physical and mental dealing with it. But who am I? I'm not an expert. But they wrote books about this. I mean, there are books about this topic, and there is a lot, as I said, I mean, there's a lot of attention on this now. And I think it can't be a coincidence. There is something in the generation of our parents and grandparents that happened.
Generation, you think? Yeah, could be. Also because we are the humanity is recovering from the war.
And communism and a lot of other things.
Communism and fascism, yeah, on both sides. Yeah. Finally starting to just breathe freely and live, not survive. Maybe that, yeah, you're right.
But you keep a relationship with them still, or with your mom somehow still, right?
Yeah, yes, I'm trying. I chose this strategy of how do you call it?
Greystone.
Greystone, yes, Greystone. So we talk about weather only.
Yeah, you keep the relationship superficial.
Yeah. But that's what she's been talking to me also for quite many years. And I was always thinking that it's kind of stupid. Why, my mom, why you asking me if it's cold or whatever? Just check the weather forecast, ask me how I feel, what's going on with my life. No, but that's right. I'm consciously only just replying quite shortly about some things, not even about big changes in my life. Never about how I feel. Never about my plans, because definitely she will try to catch it and bring
She'll
me.
hook into that somehow.
Yes, yeah, hook into this and somehow bring me to another breakdown. It actually happened quite recently, last time, about a year ago, and I'm terrified. I don't want it to happen anymore.
But yeah, those who are listening and don't know what greystoning is, then that's one of the methods that the victims of narcissism and those who want to keep a relationship with a narcissist can do. And the analogy is, I think analogy is the right word, is that a grey stone at the bottom of a river or a lake doesn't draw any attention. A white stone, black stone can do, red stone, green stone. The grey stone never does. So you basically, as Mila was describing here, you don't give any personal things. You keep it on a level where nothing that is said can hurt you, can get into you, can create that atmosphere or trigger you to,
Yeah, like you don't get engaged at all.
yeah, basically. Anyway, I didn't know when you came here that we would talk about this, so it wasn't on my plan. But I'm happy that you shared this, and of course this explains somewhat part of your journey, because I mean you moved to Finland when you were 18, and then you eventually got into dancing.
Yes, I shall say that dance was in my life all the time, with long breaks sometimes. As I started dancing when I was 5.
Yeah.
I had to stop when I went to this art school because it was taking all my time besides the regular school, and I was missing it so much that I went back to dancing right after. And yeah, I was after high school I studied in university in Russia for 2 years. Then I escaped. These 2 years were amazing because I started dancing with one company in Kostomuksha, which I love very much. I love my good friends up till now. I love our choreographer, the leader of that group. It was amazing. And when I went to Finland, also I had like a break of 1 year when I couldn't find anything what I could join. And then I met Cuban dancers. They are in Finland, and that was completely new style to me. And
Like Cuban dance then.
Yeah.
They must have loved it in Finland, the Cubans. The Cubans
Oh,
are super friendly, super open, and then they get to Finland where nobody says a thing.
They're very popular there. Yeah, very popular.
But and you became a dance teacher, right? I mean, you.
Yeah, slowly, occasionally. So I met this people. I started dancing with them, also performing in groups. It was in Kuopio where I lived first in Finland. It's like a much bigger than Kostomuksha, but still quite small place, in central Finland. So I was dancing Cuban dance and African dance, and then I get to know about dance hall. By just
What's that?
Dance hall is a Jamaican music and dance style, or I would say the whole culture, because the term dance hall means a place where dance hall, how to say, is happening. So it's all together, the music, the place where you have a kind of dance floor or something. It's usually outside, actually. Selector, how they call in Jamaica, a DJ who plays the music, and he MC as well. Dancers, drinks, all these things, the party. This is dance hall. And I just saw randomly some video on YouTube, the music video of Idonia, the dancehall artist, and I was like, oh my god, I love the rhythm. I want to know about it, and I started making a research on the internet first, and then I found there were some people who were playing selectors, the sound system, in Finland, playing this kind of music, reggae and dancehall, and they were living not in Kuopio but closer to Helsinki, the capital. So I went to Helsinki specifically for that, to visit dancehall party, to get to know people, and I was just so impressed of the energy of how people dance and everything. I enjoyed it so much, and decided I need to learn about it. And how I started teaching dance, it was just a casual. Like first, I was going to this dance school, and because I was doing very well, like I was one of the, I don't know, one of the best students. Maybe I was also performing with a students group and stuff. So once I needed to substitute a class, and I decided I can try to do this, so I gotta.
So it became a career.
Yeah, I substituted once, I substituted twice, and then okay, you can teach here. And I started teaching in different schools, and it became a career. Yeah, I was teaching, I was performing with groups. It's like when you get into this, opportunities are coming to you somehow. Then I moved to Helsinki completely, and they were like artists coming to Helsinki to perform, and they needed like dancers for their shows. So they would pay money, and we would dance for them, helping for music videos and things like that. Yeah.
So and that's that. Then, as you say, because also what you're saying, you go from your, how do I say the black revenge?
Kostomuksha.
You go from Kostomuksha to, in Finland, to
Kuopio.
Yeah, Kuopio, and then from there, and you're always moving into a little bit of a bigger environment, and
Right,
obviously
yes.
with that comes a bigger opportunity, more people, as you're saying. You would never have a band coming to Kuopio that would then come to Helsinki. Like they wouldn't come there. So your opportunities come, and that's where you decided to go and become a super dancer in Barcelona, right?
Yeah. Things were going pretty well. Like
Even a bigger venue. I mean, Barcelona, especially in those dances, I guess, is even bigger than Finland.
yeah, but I think I always had this this willing to bring myself to more challenges. Like once everything is settled in my life and just I have no problems,
Then you look for them.
I'm bored. Yeah.
But I think that's a very common trait of a child of a narcissist.
Yeah, maybe.
I
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
I never thought about it. Yeah. So finally, everything was good in Finland, but I saw that I'm bored. I saw that I didn't want to stay in this country for the rest of my life. I need something else. Maybe I didn't feel like I fit for this community. Also, because you mentioned, Finnish people are quite having different kind of character. I never felt like fit, because I thought that with my all over the place personality, maybe I'm too much for them. I disturb maybe somehow, and yeah, it was kind of too quiet for me. And I thought I want to move to another country, but where, I have no idea. And it's not so easy also for Russian citizen, because I need
A visa.
the visa documents, everything. Yeah. So I went to Barcelona first for the dance festival, just because there was a dance festival here. It was first time visiting this place in my life, and I loved it. But I had no time, because I was busy with the festival, to see the city. And I thought it's so nice that I need to come back for vacation. And I did. So I came back for vacation like months later, summertime. And I met a guy also who was from the same same environment. Like he's into music. He has his sound system, but also dance hall and reggae. So these two words are very connected. If you're doing the music and dance hall or reggae, if you dance, they're always together. So I come back again to see him, and I've noticed that in Barcelona the dance hall scene is much bigger. It's much easier to bring big artists from Jamaica to Barcelona than to Helsinki. More dancers. People are like, I think mentality also works here, like Spanish mentality versus Finnish mentality. Finnish people are quite humble, you know, and Spanish are like, I can do that.
And more expressive, and
I'm the best. They're not shy to go on stage to compete and everything. So it gave me impression that
this is it.
Being a dancer here is much better. Yeah, sure. So I was ready to move to another place, and I saw these opportunities, and also the guy, and all everything falls into the decision.
And they lived happily ever after. Was the door happily ever after door was open?
I thought so. Yeah, not really. It was completely different door.
Yeah. What happened?
After all. What happened? I couldn't really dance, and this relationship also didn't work.
Why couldn't you dance?
I couldn't dance because I've been having problems with my back for a couple of years already. But when you're like dancing, you think, I'm just tired. It will pass. Let me take a pill. It will pass. One day it didn't pass. I just woke up in my bed and I couldn't move. Literally, I couldn't move. Of course, I was terrified, but then it was a time to really go see a doctor. And they made MRI and everything, and they said, okay, you have this protrusion, hernia and protrusion, those things. Yeah. So I think everybody knows what hernia is, when your discs are like, how you call it?
The slip. Yeah.
Help me, yeah. So it's completely broken, and it's get out and like disturb your nerve. So
yes.
Yeah, so it's
so you have this massive pain, and it can paralyze you.
And then it's not reversible. Nothing to be done with it. Maybe operation, but still, that's not really recommended. But in my case, it was not hernia yet, but protrusion very close to get already exploded. So they said, you really need to stop and take care about it. And it's also in quite sensitive area in my neck. So
you had to stop.
Right. I mean, the doctor said, you better stop now. And it was a difficult decision because I didn't want to. And for me, it was like losing my whole life. Like,
and this is just before you're moving to Barcelona. I mean, you basically made the decision to move to Barcelona.
Right, yeah. I already had everything booked. I closed all my doors in Finland. I had my tickets. I was moving, yeah. And then I had to make a decision to stop dancing because I thought, like, I better have like better quality life and healthy life for longer term than keep on dancing now. And I don't know what's going to happen with my health like in a couple of years.
And then you broke up with the guy also?
Not right away, but later, yeah. Yeah.
But you still moved despite all this. I mean, you still went ahead and went to Barcelona.
Yes, I did. That was kind of stupid, I say.
Yeah.
Why? Because first of all, documents. Yeah, me being Russian citizen, it's not so easy to move around. So, the guy, we were madly in love. We thought we're gonna be together forever and everything. And there was two options: either for him to come live with me in Finland for a couple of years more, so I will apply for citizenship, and then I will have like European passport, and then I can just go whenever I want. Or me coming to Barcelona and we get married, and this is how I get my visa in Spain. And he insisted on the second option because he didn't want to go to Finland, basically. Yeah, and that was fine. No, because we were really in love, as I said, and we thought we will be together forever. So why not, actually? Yeah. That meant for me that I really burned all my bridges behind. Like, if things would not work well with him, or he betrayed me or something just on the way in between this process of me having documents, I would have no other options but go back to Russia. I couldn't go back to Finland. That would be I'll be completely fucked. That was like risking everything. Yeah, all my independence and everything.
But you stayed in Barcelona.
And I came
eventually.
to Barcelona. Yeah, stayed there. So we got married, and I tried still to teach dance for first couple of months, but I realized that nope, you should stop now. Yeah, I stopped. I tried to take care about my health, recover. I did. Now I'm perfect, like and in a good shape. Everything good. Actually, I think I could maybe start dancing again little by little, just for fun at least. Yeah, I got my first office job ever.
But that isn't you. I mean, you're not an office.
No,
right?
exactly. So I was never working in the office like student, and that was so difficult. You know, you have to sit 8 hours.
Yeah. You have to
That
sit,
was
yes.
that was the most difficult
They
thing
could
to
tie
me.
you to the chair, maybe.
Like a parent. No, who are you? My mom. Come on.
Yeah, but the Rus- no, sorry, the Russian the office job. I mean, that pays the bills. I mean, that's.
Yeah, because I needed a job. Yeah, so that was good.
And then Barcelona makes you. It's interesting. You kind of you leave your hometown as a failed economist to become and you have a rebirth as a dancer in Finland, and then you were gonna be an even greater dancer in Barcelona, and then you go there. Yeah, you get that office job, and everything goes to shit.
The life is amazing. Like
And
you never
this
know what's
sounds-
happening.
Yeah, and you become a comedian.
And yes, I lost my job in the office during the pandemic crisis because it was related to Airbnb, and they closed the whole office in Barcelona. First May,
industry, yeah.
2020. Yes, and I was without any job for almost a year, like not able to find anything. Still a pandemic year last year, and actually it worked well for me because I had plenty of time to reconsider things. And actually, when I started my therapy as well, maybe I can say a couple of words about, because it's interesting technique, is a hypnotherapy. So all this gave me like an energy boost, and I also possibility to reflect and connect with myself. And I decided that let me try comedy. I always liked it. I've been doing like theater or comedic theater with my friends, just like a hobby all my life. Whenever I would have free time from dancing, I shall say this, you know.
But what was it? What made it attractive? What makes comedy attractive for you?
So I couldn't dance anymore, and I felt that I really miss something to be creative and also to perform. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are a million ways to be creative. I mean, you can draw, you can paint, you can make ceramics. You can. I mean, there are. Is there something, because you dancing and comedy is kind of, you're on stage. You're like you're in the attention. Is that something?
Yeah, I was saying that should be something where I will be performing for people. I have to be on stage, and it's not about attention seeking. I'm sure, not my case. It's more like this magic when you are in front of your audience and you look them in the eye and you
see you're doing something right.
You give them something. You give them idea, or you give them energy, or you give them mood or atmosphere. They take it, they receive it, and they give you something back. This exchange is amazing. This moment, I feel like euphoric when I perform. And why comedy then? Because comedy is amazing.
Are you funny?
I hope so. No, they're laughing. I mean, look at me. I'm here. I'm performing. If I wouldn't be funny, I think they wouldn't let me perform.
You're on a European tour.
European tour.
But
Asking for spots.
but I mean, because I love performing myself, or but I think for me it's the attention seeking. I like attention, and I get some adrenaline from it. So in my previous life, when I had businesses, I liked when I was having speeches and talking on stage, and it was great, and it's. And that was I was curious about if you're an attention whore like me,
Maybe people will call me that if because I really want to be in the center all the time, but it's not like I don't feel that I'm attention seeker. I just
it's a natural,
need it.
Yeah,
it's a natural.
Yeah.
Like even in that stupid office job, I was always my team. They called me a manager, even though I was not a manager, because every day I would come to the office in the morning, and first I needed to organize all of them to have fun and to communicate between each other. When I see them just being at their computers, not paying attention around, I didn't feel comfortable. So I would come somewhere in the center, throw stupid joke here, stupid joke there. Hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? And I create some communication between them. And when I see that everybody is together and they're having fun, I calm down and go to my computer. I was always doing that. I don't know why. Same happened at school and university. I was organizing events for us, parties for us, stuff like that.
So amongst your friends, you would always be the one to make anything happen. If there is if you're meeting old friends, then it's you who organizes it and makes sure that it happens.
Yeah. All the time.
But it's interesting because this is also one of the traits of children of narcissists.
All right.
So
I'm just sick.
You're ticking the boxes one by one. But how was it then? I mean, so you wanted an art form where you're expressing yourself and you're getting the feedback from the crowd and creating that connection and atmosphere. But it's not just something you do. I mean, you just don't. I don't know. Did you just show up somewhere at an open mic and say, okay, I'm going to go up there, or did you prepare a lot, or?
Yeah, let me just add a little comment to what happened before. I thought it was a natural talent of mine, and you telling me it's trauma.
Sorry to
shit.
Sorry to shoot it down like this.
Okay, yeah.
But out of every trauma, if you get through it, there's always some improvement at the other end of the tunnel. You know?
Still doesn't make me feel better. Okay, comedy in Barcelona.
But when you started, I mean, did you just go somewhere to an open mic and say, okay, I'm gonna go up there and be funny, or did you have something that you've been working on?
No, I even now most of the time I go on stage, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to talk about. So the first time, even though I knew a lot of people in Barcelona, I knew nobody who would know anything about comedy. And I just tried to make a research on Facebook. I found one show. I went to see that show right after they started having some shows after lockdown, so I went to see the first show. I loved it. They say they're going to be another one Saturday. I come back Saturday. On Saturday after the show, I came to talk to people, to comedians. I said, I like it. I want to do it myself, blah, 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 blah. I went to see a couple of shows more, and then I come to the host, the showrunner. I say, I want to perform next Monday. And surprisingly to me, he said, "Yeah, okay." The open mic, of course. And it was 1 week for me to prepare. I'd never been trying to write comedy before that, and that was quite an intense week. But I work like this. I like short distances. I can't plan much, and I needed myself again to be thrown into the challenge.
Yeah, to have your back against the wall, so that you had to do something.
Yes, and yeah, I was writing so much shit in my pants, being very nervous.
And how was that first show?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I run.
Did the crowd agree with you, or was that just your own experience?
Of course, it was not super funny. I mean, as a first time, first time performing. Of course, no. I'm amazing about how I felt on stage.
You loved it.
I loved it.
No stress.
I loved it so much. That's what I'm saying. Like when I went on stage, I took the mic and I saw all these people looking at me on the same level. That's what I like about comedy. When you perform in small rooms, you really
you're not really standing on a podium or
yeah,
anything.
you're like in the living room.
Yeah, I need a
with your
podium.
friends.
Yeah.
And this energy exchange, that was so good. And if they start laughing at your jokes, it's just, my God, the best feeling on earth. But I run the time, this is very, very bad mistake for a comedian to run the time. Like if you're given 5 minutes, you need to go after 5 minutes. I did like 10 minutes. I never realized it was this much already. But it comes with experience, of course. Interesting thing I've noticed about the way you feel when you dance or when you perform comedy, when you talk to people on stage. Like when I used to dance, it doesn't matter if it was a big stage or if it was a small stage or if it was inside a classroom, in the club, if it was like a battle, like in street dance, right? Like it's a crowd and you make like a little spot in the middle and people go battle. Doesn't
Is
matter.
that called a bottle?
Yeah, battle.
Oh, I didn't know that. Like breakdancing on a square somewhere. That would be like a. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not sure if it's called also a battle in every dance style, but dance hall for sure that's a battle. Yeah. Anyway, whenever I would start dancing, I knew that there are people around me, and I know that I perform for them, and I want to express something for them, to give them some kind of idea. So we definitely communicating somehow on energy level. But even if I would look at them with my eyes open, I couldn't see them. Something switched off, and I couldn't see them. I was like looking inside me, inside myself, and seeing this, I don't know, these ideas that I want to transfer to them inside myself. But so the energy is kind of inside, is accumulated inside, and you know that it's going outside. That's it. But when you perform comedy or when you talk in the mic to people next to you, I feel like I'm naked because I needed to look in the eye of everyone around me, and I need to create this the bridge of energy going back and forth all the time. It's interaction. I give them something, they need to give me back, and this is how we communicate. Completely different thing.
But how is it to be a girl in comedy? I mean, do you think it's different than to be a guy? I mean, are there are the expectations to you different than to a guy? Is the crowd nicer or more difficult or?
Yeah, it seems like we are in this feminism world now. No, not yet. I still see that even Barcelona is very, very forward into that. Like we have quite many girls in our scene, but I still can sense certain expectations from like the crowd, for example.
Like what?
Um,
Are you supposed to be in a certain way or dress or I don't know?
Again,
What is?
I do believe that for a guy to be liked by audience is easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it can be funny. When it's a girl, you kind of need to work harder, and you need to break through the way you look. Like I had this concern about how should I dress, and I thought if I gonna dress like I would normally do in my life, dresses, heels, I enjoy it.
Mm.
I do enjoy it very much. It will just distract attention from maybe from the male audience, like
You would be judged on the wrong
yeah,
basis or
yeah. From the male audience, maybe they'll just looking at me like at a girl, and the female audience will be like, "Huh, so you look good. You're also funny. Like, what do you think? You're queen of the world?" Like maybe I'm exaggerating, but to be honest, I still feel it sometimes.
But I find with like if I think now when I'm listening to you, if I think that actually like with guys in comedy, I mean they are very much not dressed up ever. For example, like I feel that what I like actually about comedy is that it takes a lot of snob away. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have a comedian who is a banker maybe as a main job and just comes there in a t-shirt and jeans, you know?
Okay.
And I feel the playing ground is kind of level there, you know?
What I think now, both about your material, about your delivery style, and the way you look, it's very important to be yourself. That's a beauty about stand-up comedy. You need to be very sincere and vulnerable. And if you're not yourself, it's not happening then. Also, in the way you look. So, for example, if this guy would like to go on stage wearing suit, why not? It just has to be very authentic and in harmony with his personality, the way how he feels, and also in harmony with his material, I guess.
Yeah, maybe people in suits are just they don't have a sense of humor.
We have this one gentleman. I can't call him any other word because he's in Barcelona. He was always going on stage wearing suit. I loved it. It looks so good on him. Also goes well with the style of his jokes. Like this intelligent one-liners. I like it. I like it very much.
But what you said, you know, like you being authentic and vulnerable on stage. I mean, do you make fun of yourself, for example? I mean, is that something, because some comedians do that, you know, they start by joking somehow about themselves. That kind of puts them.
It could be just a cheap move, you know, like yeah, I'm a loser, I'm shit, and so you guys can feel bad about yourself, so you're gonna like me because I'm not a threat for you.
Wow, this was deep. I'm not a threat to you. I didn't think about it like that.
I think the crowd needs to feel comfortable. They can feel they can feel like scary though, like a dread. Yeah, it for them it will be better to feel that they are better people, more prettier, clever.
I like where
successful.
This is going. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go to comedy now. Feel really successful and pretty. So you don't do that. You don't make fun. I mean, you don't put yourself down to.
I make fun of myself all the time in my life as well. When I talk to my friends, I do it all the time. But I don't know, to a certain level, not too much. I mean, again, being authentic. If I don't feel it, I'm not saying it. If I feel like this, yes.
There was a guy actually previously on my podcast, a comedian. I've had a few comedians, and I think it was with him. We had this conversation about like he's overweight, and he makes fun of that.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, it allows him to make fun of overweight people.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of saw it as a, how do you say, a gatekeeper, you know, or opening. He could open some topics that he it was harder to criticize him because he had made that joke and even a worse joke about himself. Does comedy work like that for you? I mean,
I think I believe you can make joke about absolutely everything if the joke is good enough.
Can you move the mic a little bit closer? Yeah.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, or lift yourself up. You're kind of sliding out of the chair.
It'd be good.
Yeah, that's good. So you can make fun of anything, right?
I don't like to put limits on comedians. They should not be scary to you to cross over the lines. But don't use a hot topic just for the sake of hot topic. Again, it's a cheap method. If you feel connected personally to the subject, or either if you have very clever, well-written joke about the subject, then do it.
But what I mean, because now like we have Me Too, we have feminism, we have climate crisis, no, climate emergency, I think it's called now. And
You're just going through all the topics I make jokes about.
Yeah, but some of those things are more sensitive than others. I mean, like in general, in let's say in societies and in discussion and so on. Are there any? Because you just said that comedians should not be limited in what lines he crossed. Are there any lines that you wouldn't cross, or any of those topics?
I don't know. Yeah, when I was saying there should be no limits, I was thinking, yeah, there should be limits. There should be limits. You need to think about what you're saying. Am I right? It has to be a clever joke. What I'm saying, clever joke. So try not to hurt no one. Still, there's a danger. There will be somebody in the crowd who will be oversensitive or just stupid, or not knowing how comedy works. That
And
will get offended.
they paid entrance to a comedy club, so they are most likely gonna hear something that might offend someone. So they actually make the mistake by going there in the first place.
No.
But wait, so in isn't this then more a problem now? Because people are offended about
Everything.
anything.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they're offended on behalf of others. They're offended on behalf of people they don't even know.
Yeah, that's very stupid, I say.
Yeah. But how is this, like, so you don't give a shit about this. You just go ahead. You tell your jokes.
Joke has to work.
Yeah, but
So if they're not laughing, I say, if they are not laughing, if you don't get good laughs for this joke, that means the joke is bad. And it could be a joke on very hot topic. That means you need to change something. And that means the joke is offending rather than being funny. Or upsetting rather than being funny.
So if we are here in 20 years, then the stuff you're doing today is offending maybe one or two people in the crowd. In 20 years, it's going to be all of the crowd, and there'll be one person left. It seems to be where it's going. I mean,
no. I gonna be such a clever comedian that I will be able to jungle with his jokes and hot topics however I want.
yeah.
They will be still laughing. That's my goal.
This is why you're on the European tour.
Yeah, that's my goal. I'm offending people here, offending people there. I had a guy screaming in the middle of my joke just before the punchline. He was like, "This is too much. This is too much. Like, stop it."
And how do you deal with that? I mean, when you have someone calling out and these hecklers, you know?
Hecklers, yes, we love them. So that was my very first situation like that. Of course, I can't tell how I deal with it because it was my first experience, which gave me a good lesson. I think I did wrong thing in that situation that day. What I did is also a combination of circumstances because I was finishing my set. I had to go. There was just a last joke and very dark joke. Very dark, but funny. So just giving them the premise for this joke and not giving them the punchline
wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's just saying something really bad, really upsetting to the people and not making them laugh in the end and going, leaving the stage. That would be so bad. So he was ruining my punchline and I couldn't find anything better in that situation to do. Just kind of look him in the eye and still say my punchline, but loudly. And I don't think that was the right decision, but now normally I would say that you need to give attention to hecklers every time they try to talk to you, scream whatever they do. That means something is wrong.
Or they just need to talk.
Yes, and I'm here to entertain them, so maybe they're right. You know, at least it would be good to try to find out why is this person now screaming. What's going on? Is it upsetting him, or he just wants really attention, or he tried to be funny too? Every situation is different, right?
Yeah, but I think this what you just said now is a very interesting point, because I think comedy clubs are an environment where you go in, you have 2-3 beers, and it's about being funny. It's about comedy. You automatically, a lot of people, they automatically think, okay, I'm also funny. I can also be funny. I should be on this stage.
Yeah.
This is what I feel when I go to a rock concert. If I have 2 beers or more, I honestly think that there is a mistake that I'm not in Guns N' Roses or that I'm not in Metallica, and I have no talent or anything like that. But I honestly think that it must be a mistake that I'm not up there.
I love it.
Yeah, because I'm a star. Just undiscovered,
So you need to make them feel like stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ask their name and you make them a
part of the show.
Part of the show for the rest of the night. Yeah. Always talking to them. Now, like that situation happened, I don't know, 2 months ago in Barcelona, and I say it gave me a good lesson. I changed my behavior on the stage completely now. I do a little crowd work every time it's possible. Even if you have to give up the joke, it's better to do crowd work if they ask for that.
Yeah, if the crowd is ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how is there some Russian stereotype in comedy? I mean, is there a joke that every Russian comedian has to make?
Please. Okay. I hate stereotypes. This is one thing I had the most in this life. I hate stereotypes so much. I don't know about Russian comedians. You see, I'm not living in Russia for a really long time. I know that comedy is big in Russia, and I'm following everything on the internet, but I'm not one of them. I don't live there.
Would you be funny there if you would go with your program now to Russia? Would they like you?
I just said that I did my very first show in Russia here in Prague yesterday, last night. I was so terrified. And you can't imagine, it's my native language and I know the culture, it's supposed to be much easier than in English. but I was so terrified. I thought I can be funny.
And it
it
worked
w-
out.
It went very, really well. It was
Mm.
amazing, and it's
And
like
it's a Russian crowd completely.
it's a Russian-speaking crowd, like people from all these countries.
Yeah, Kazakh, Kyrgyz,
Yeah, right, yeah.
Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
And but how, if because I'm just curious, because like when people hear Russia, we hear Putin, we hear communism, or they're bad people, or whatever the fuck, oil, gas. We don't hear comedy. Does Russia have a is there, I don't know, is there a Russian style comedy?
I think there's a Russian style comedy.
That would be different, or
maybe it only works in Russia itself. And I say comedy scene is really big and growing. They're doing a nice job, but because of the politics again in all those countries, they are really limited now about what they can talk about.
So they have to self-censor.
Very much, yes, very much. It's dangerous. It is dangerous, no other word. Yeah. About there's people like, so I was at a show yesterday here, and they're doing comedy in Russian for Russians, so people from the more or less similar situation, political and cultural situation countries. They seem to me somehow similar to those comedians I see on internet who live in Russia, but more relaxed. And I can see now that they are also trying to look up at the big comedy stars from States, from England, same as me. But they're quite different from my style, because I started comedy in Barcelona, being surrounded by
exactly. So you're shaped by the environment.
very international group of comedians, which I actually like. But so my problem was that because I was the first Russian comedian in Barcelona, and all these other comedians, they were so happy to put all the stereotypes on me. And I was
you couldn't really use them yourself.
I didn't want to. I am Mila. I'm not I'm not a Russian girl, I want to be myself, everything that
you don't want to be identified just as that.
Yes, also because of my comedy style. I like to do strange jokes or some I don't want to. I didn't want to walk on stereotypes from the beginning. I never wanted to even make any small jokes about where I come from. I was not inspired by this, but I was kind of forced to that direction. So I do it a little bit, and now some jokes I use kinda build up on stereotypes. One of my favorite jokes.
I think people have to come and look at your shows. I mean, and I also on your Instagram there are some shorter videos, and I know that you're preparing to put more on YouTube and do more stuff like this.
I should start. Even about Instagram, I had the same problem when I used to dance. I'm very shy. I'm very shy on showing myself on social media. I can't even look at it myself. Now you really need to tell me that it's something coming from narcissistic survival trauma.
It's one of the traits of children of narcissistic
That's
parents.
for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. Now I agree with you completely. But I should start. I should start taking care of my Instagram because, of course you have to. This is how you show yourself to the comedians around the world and people who might, I don't know.
Book you into their club or whatever. I mean, it's just.
But also, I saw that for now I've been trying to build any good enough proper material and then record it in a good quality, then to post it. Another thing it's bothering me right now. Should I really post every joke I do on Instagram? Because I kind of want to keep a mystery. I think maybe for comedian, it will be good to have like couple of proper videos maybe on YouTube, so if any person who can book you for a proper show can have a look. But for Instagram, maybe it's better to post like short clips with crowd work better, or something that just happens at the moment.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Right, not your jokes, because keep those jokes. You're gonna tell them later on.
Yeah, and you want people to come and hear them in the club and so on. But of course, the other part is part of your branding and marketing. Talking about Instagram, what's your Instagram?
Mila Shaurus. It's like Mila Dinosaurus together.
And I will post a link to that in the episode description as well. And there's one thing I was thinking about, like when you identified as a comedian. I mean, some people identified as a male or a female or nothing. You identified as a comedian. When that happened, did that change anyhow how people see you? Do you know what I mean? Do people expect you to be always funny, or that you're always making a joke? That they can just put like €1 into you and then, okay, now she says something funny.
Yeah, it's quite annoying, right?
Is it like that?
It is a bit, yeah. I say that friends I used to have, like even before the comedy, they always been saying me that I'm funny, and when I say that I want to try it, they're like, yeah, go try it because you're funny, you're always funny. Of course, this is definitely a thing. Supporting me very much. I really appreciate it. They are the best. And people I get to know now, I mostly spend my time around other comedians, or people like who come to see comedy show. So okay, they already see me performing, they're not gonna come to me and say, tell me a joke now.
Yeah, they are tired of jokes anyway.
Yeah, or they can. What another kind of annoying thing? But okay, I understand people are still gonna be doing this. They would come to you and say, you need to make a joke about that, or why not? Because.
But I think that comes with the setting. Like you're saying, it's a very intimate thing, especially in those smaller clubs. Everybody feels that they are equal because you're not standing on a huge stage, maybe.
No, but I love it. It's the best. It's the best recognition you can have if people come to talk to you after the show, even just to say hi. That means a lot. That means they like you, they remember you, and they want to kind of thank you or congratulate you for
But what happens when people out of the blue send you on Facebook a message and ask you to be on their world-class podcast? I mean, does that feel good?
I felt first like
It's a stalker here.
Yeah, surprised. I'm like very suspicious. Like me, and I sent this to my to the chat. Like we have a chat with my comedy buddies.
Yeah.
Like comedy family.
So I went through some sort of an auditioning.
Yeah. They said, oh, he seems legit.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm saying about it.
No, but this is how I get people. I just find random people, honestly, and I send emails and I send them messages on LinkedIn and Facebook and whatever. And and some people answer me back, or some people don't answer me back, and then I just send them like 10 other emails. And if they haven't answered that, then I just send, I know where you live. And this is how I populate my podcast episode.
Be careful.
Yeah. So
you know what I said to this friends of mine, my comedy buddies. So I sent them a screenshot of your message. I was like, look at it, guys. Who is that? They're like, why not? It sounds good. Podcast. Wow, you're popular. Go. I'm like, all right, but I'm gonna take my gun with me.
Great.
Russian jokes. Here we go. I don't like stereotypes.
Actually, I dated a Russian girl here once, and she when she picked me up the first time in her car that looked like she had some job that paid a lot of money, she had a gun in the car. And I remember when I saw the gun in the glove, in that little container, I was kind of like, shit, you know, I'm not sure I should be here. But then now she moved away, so I'm safe.
Okay. I also have a story about the gun. True story again, back to my childhood traumas. So when I was a kid in our like a summer house, which was like in the middle of wild woods, I used to have a gun, like a short gun, under my mattress. Yeah.
For the bears or something?
Yeah, bears.
Wow.
Yeah. You know the fairy tale, the story about the princess on the pea. You know, so I was there's a Russian version. I was sleeping on
on a gun.
On the gun, yeah, because I think my dad had to keep it under the mattress. Maybe first because this gun was not registered. Hi, Dad. And another thing is that the summer house was like in the middle of wild woods, and we could go there only summertime because when it's winter and snow, you just can't even reach there. It's really a wild area, and people from local villages around would come and try to break in. Basically, it was happening every winter and just steal everything they could find. So I think he was just kind of hiding it. But it's kind of weird, right? Because why would you hide it under the mattress of your child?
Yeah. But you were armed and dangerous. But you came here. You're not gonna kill me after this. Now we finished recording. You would have killed me before we started, right? Okay. Thanks for coming, Mila. Have a nice trip to Berlin and be successful with your shows there. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.